Everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to the first episode of 2025 of our refreshed podcast of WeSurf. I am your host, Kwame Bassiere, and I'm here. I know it seems a surprise, but he is here in person today. I am here with
Nigel Lewis. What's up, guys? Happy New Year to everyone. Hope the New Year's has been off to a good start. Yeah, really excited about getting back into this thing. Definitely missed it, and I'm excited about all the stuff that we got coming down.
we'll talk about how the new year been for a good start in a bit. Yeah, it's been a really. I know everyone. First of all, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for sticking with us
Yeah,
over the past 2 years. We know it's been rough. Touch and go. Things have been happening where we were putting up as much content as possible,
yeah.
but then I'm just going to jump straight into it. For me personally, I could not wait for 2024 to end. Whether you believe that it's a calendar is just part of a man-made construct or not, but I could not wait for 2024 to end. It's really something that we sat down and said, we planned this out, and we want to dedicate a certain amount of time and effort and resources to it. So, number one, if you listen to some of our other podcasts, people would say, I would always say to people, oh, if you're seeing this, or if you're hearing this, well, guess what? Now you can see it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
we're actually here.
yeah, the original concept of the podcast was to be a video cast. I kind of wanted to interact with people. I like the visual aspect of conversation. And when we have guests on, I want to kind of have people see them too. So I'm really kind of excited that we're getting to do this in this amazing space here and looking forward to all the cool things that we have coming down.
So two things. Nigel mentioned the amazing space that we're in. We're actually at UTF Media Studios. This is where this is where we're recording this episode. And the second thing, which me personally, I don't know if I'm so thrilled about it being video, because I actually had to go and shave. I had to like clean up myself, and because I surfed today, so
Oh,
I had
man.
like sand all over the place. And normally I would just walk into wherever we're recording in like a pair of dirty jeans and
Yeah.
whatnot, but I actually had to clean myself up a little bit. So I'm not really. I don't. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I'm too thrilled with the video concept of it, but hey, it got me to get myself together.
Yeah, no, you're a better man than me. I wanted to do all that stuff, and then everything started just running backwards. And but we're here.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm really excited about the new format. And right now it's kind of mellow. I think we got to like surf up the walls a little bit and
Oh yeah, we got
make it our own. But this is the first one, and we just wanted to take the time to reintroduce ourselves to you guys, let you know what's going to be coming up for the next couple of months. There's a lot of really cool things that I'm very excited about. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to. I know you guys know me as part of Station. That is looking like, and then honestly, I haven't seen you in a while, and I want to kind of know what you've been up to. So I'm excited about this.
So I think one of the first things we should do, let's speak a little bit about local news or local stuff in Rockaway. One of the first things that hit us was the passing of a very good friend I know he was a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
I didn't know him that well. I only knew him, met him in the water a few times, and taught with him at New York Surf School as an instructor. So I didn't know him that well, but in the short time that I knew him, so it really has an effect on me. So I'll let you speak more to Ralton.
Yeah. I mean, Ralton was someone I met. Some people know the backstory of my Rockaway surfing, but I started surfing there probably like around 1992, and I didn't meet Ralton until a little bit later. But when I met him, again, because of what we do, like seeing another Black person in the water is always kind of eye-opening, right? It's like,
To say the least.
yeah. I obviously noticed him right away, and I'm not sure how we started speaking exactly, but we introduced ourselves, and this man was just always his voice and his personality. This was always really nice. I know he was going through some issues with his health for a while, so
Right.
he took a break. I hadn't seen him in Rockaway for a while, and I was surprised to hear the news. I actually didn't know about it because I personally haven't been in Rockaway too much lately since the store closed. But I saw it, I think, on Uma's feed. Conrad posted about it. And I was just kind of paused. There are a few things that kind of really make a a statement for me. And for some reason, that was one of them. I guess
Right.
it's just because you see these people in the water all the time. And I don't know if we take it for granted. We just always think that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
So when I realized that he was gone, it was just this familiar face that you're not going to see anymore. And it was something that was very sad about it. So I posted about it on our station Instagram, and a lot of people chimed in. I mean, there are people that were way closer to him than I was, but I still feel like it's a void, that we're going to have in the Rockaways. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's resting in peace and, maybe catching some of those waves out there.
Epic heavenly waves.
The heavenly waves, yeah.
The epic heavenly waves, yeah. So I agree with you. He'll definitely be missed. Ralton, catch a wave for all of us if you can.
Yeah, brother. Rest in peace for sure.
So the next thing that I wanted to touch on, which I think everyone still staying along the lines of local news, I think everyone pretty much knows this as already, is the A train. The A train in Rockaway. And I'm sure if you live in Rockaway, you should know this already. If you are Rockaway adjacent, coming down to Rockaway in the winter, then you probably know that, and you're traveling by train, you know this already, but the A train is no longer running in Rockaway until I believe it's May.
Yeah, I think sometime in May.
And it's for track work. And I am going to shut up right now about that, because I have some very, very strong opinions about that. So, yeah.
So I have strong opinions just about the service to Rockaway in general. I think, and I've said this to people, I think Rockaway, it's kind of like the forgotten land, but when you get out there, you realize how special it is. So, people who live out there, I think, appreciate being out there, and they want to be there, but there's always something. The ferry was definitely a blessing, having that available for use. But this is going to create a problem, I think, for a lot of people coming out to surf or just coming out to the Rockaways. I mean, forget the surfing. It affects local businesses. The only bright spot about this, I think, is that it's happening early enough in the spring that hopefully by the time summer rolls around, things will be running smoothly, and we'll, the service will be back up and running. To the MTA's defense, though, I have spoken to someone who works for the MTA in regards to that. And what I think I realized, and I didn't think about a lot then, is that there's track running over salt water, right? And it's metal tracks. It's been there forever. And Rockaway in general, like when the breeze blows, all that salt hits the metal, it causes corrosion. So I can understand how there's a lot of maintenance on there. I just feel like it should be a forethought, like understanding that this is by the ocean. So obviously get all that work done continuously. But, since Sandy, there was a lot of focus on getting people's houses back up, getting infrastructure back up and running, building a boardwalk. So I completely understand how maybe the subways took maybe second place, like they got it running, which was good enough, and now it's time to deep dive it. So
I get it. I do get it. And the point about it being salt water and so on, and anyone who's lived in Rockaway and has had a car parked there for an extended period of time knows, at one point even my glasses began to rust up because they're metal glasses and whatever. So I 100% get that. My issue was the timing of when we were told that it's going to happen.
Okay.
I really felt like this was summer came, left, fall, and then we were told, but guess what? In a few months, we're going to shut down. So I personally don't think people had enough time to plan for this. But, it happened. And, I know that there are people in Rockaway who are stepped up, because Rockaway, they'll always step up.
Yeah. I feel that anything that has to do with the government or anything that just... I guess unless it's TikTok, it's going to take forever. I guess they can figure out the TikTok ban quickly. But
good point.
Figure out the things that would actually help the people. Anyway,
they got TikTok. They got TikTok back faster than it takes to cook minute.
I know it's
crazy. I was
it's
impressed
crazy.
by that. Like,
but the one thing I will say about that though, and this is just my thought about all these things. It's amazing what people could do. I don't think as a people we give ourselves enough credit for the power that we have. We try to hold these people up as like gods. Oh, he's gonna change, and it really, we could change it. It's the same thing. They work for us, so I'm all for people, doing what they need to do to make sure they get what they need, so anyway.
So hopefully that one wouldn't get us canceled. But
no, it's all good.
Because trust me, we can say a lot more about that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about about now that we've touched on. I mean, is there anything else you want to add about local news?
No, I mean, just the waves, I think we had a pretty good end of fall season. I mean,
really?
You guys got in the water.
I wouldn't know. I was out of the water. I wouldn't know.
Right,
I didn't get to surf.
Right. I guess we'll talk about that. But I mean, for everyone who got like the end of summer.
Yeah, no, it was
was
good.
just such a really good run of waves in
It was
Rockaway.
good. I think that starting September, because I remember specifically, it was
yeah.
September 17th. There was just like back to back
Oh,
to back to back to back waves, and just like for almost 4 to 5 weeks straight,
yeah, it was
just went through. So
super,
yeah.
really, really good. And surfing spots that like hadn't broken in a while. So I really enjoyed that. Like I didn't have to go to the main spots. The water was still
Yeah.
kind of warm. And yeah, and then lately I think I haven't gone out, unfortunately, since then, just the life stuff, you
Mhm.
know. But looks like there's been, you know, a couple days of
Yeah,
waves.
we have.
Not like amazing, but yeah. So if you guys have scored, you know, we're living vicariously through you.
I don't know. I surfed today.
Yeah.
I went out.
Oh, did-
I've been because I have not been able to get. I wasn't able to get in the water. I'm
Right,
taking
right,
exactly
right,
what I
right.
could get. So
Yeah, no,
anytime, every time.
I try to say and think that I'm going to be a winter surfer,
Mm.
and it's just like, what do you guys think? I mean, it's not fun, and for me, surfing is something that genuinely makes me happy,
Mm.
and I can like survive it. But
Mhm.
unless it's like clean, without like weird kind of wind conditions, I'm not in a hurry to jump out.
I don't
there, you
know because okay, so I'm a little different. I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
So I get your point about it not being the best of circumstances and just it's not being fun because I've heard that before. And yes,
Okay.
there are 100% days when I am like, what am I doing out here? My feet are cold. I gotta change, and I get it. But regardless of what I have experienced, even if it's just one wave. Just
That's
one
true.
wave.
That's
I
true.
come out of the water and I know for a fact because people have told me I am a happier and a nicer person
That's true.
after I have been in the water, even if it's just for that hot second. I mean, granted, don't talk to me while I'm changing because then I'm like, oh, it's cold. I don't know what I'm doing here. I should never move to New York. What the hell was I thinking? I should have stayed in the South. But, you know, I really enjoy surfing. To me, winter surfing, I try to look at it as preparation for spring,
Yeah,
summer,
yeah,
fall.
yeah.
You know,
I could
because
see that. I
trying to
mean,
pop up in a 6'5" is not easy.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug the one thing that I think that I take advantage of, even though it's kind of like my business. Um, like we have station surf lockers, right? And
Mhm.
what for me the hardest part has always just been kind of dealing with the cold, and then you know before I had the store and before we had the lockers, getting home and then changing or changing in the car. And I think that was just always kind of troublesome. And even the walk from, because I lived in Rockaway,
Right.
so the walk from the beach back to the house was always tricky. But again, then I see people younger than me, people older than me that are just crushing it in the winter. And I'm just like, grow up here and just deal with
Just
it.
deal with it.
But having the lockers and a place to like run in there and change and hot
Mhm.
shower, and we just opened it up so people who just want to use the facilities and just change
Right,
and get a
right.
shower, we allow that to happen as well. And then leaving your boards, which I didn't really think about this too, but now that the trains are jacked up, like having a place to keep your boards so you can get out there quickly and not have to like deal with the bus to the train to the bus. It's kind of a cool thing. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Station Surf Lockers, yeah, definitely do that. It's just a good thing if you're surfing Rockaway, not having to bring your
Yeah.
stuff out, especially with this subway situation.
Good. The other thing which I want us to touch on, and just want to make sure we have enough time for this, is I'm sure everyone is aware of the wildfires that are happening
Oh
in
yeah,
California
man.
and how it's affecting everyone out there. You know, I know so many people from the West Coast, surfers, non-surfers, who are out there and who are being affected by these wildfires. So even my uncle, you know, lost his house, and it was because of surfers, people that I met literally 2 years ago who have stepped up and like are helping him navigate this time because I can't be there, and you know his immediate family they live in Europe, so they helped us. They stepped in to help us with this. So you know, I just want to thank them, and you know, if you have anybody out there that's in California, you know, check on them, see how they're doing because
Yeah.
it is a mess out there.
I mean, the wildfires were a little crazy. I actually didn't know about it until randomly I turned on the news and I'm like, wait, what? LA is burning. Yeah, man. You know, my thoughts and I hate saying thoughts and prayers, but because you want to do more. But you know, a lot of those people in my mind. My aunt lives out there. I don't think she's in a zone where there's any trouble, but yeah, a lot of this stuff, and we're going to talk about this because we're going to discuss kind of like what we were going through last year. But a lot of this stuff just makes you kind of pause, man, and realize that like just do the stuff that makes you happy. I think that's why, this podcast is kind of a big one of those things for me. Like, I wanted to do this just because I love talking about surfing, and I'm saying it because you never know,
Right.
right? Life is kind of like the lotto, right? Like, you never know. So enjoy it. I feel like surf, take the trips, do the things that everyone tells you, wait till you have enough money. And I'm not saying that's not important, but I'm just saying that life is long, but it could also be short. So just enjoy it. Like, do the things that like moves your soul,
Enjoy the life you got while you have it.
Yeah.
Because you never know when, what, how, where, why, all the time. So
yeah.
And one thing which I took from the wildfires is that just how much the community is coming together.
Yeah.
So that's always a big thing for us to pay attention to, especially in the days in that way things are in the US right now, and were 4 years ago, and were 2 months ago, and were 4 months ago. So, it's all we really have to really pay attention to, and just like be there for each other. I'm not saying give somebody the shirt off your back, not your entire closet.
Of course.
Not giving your entire closet, because then you end up with nothing. But at least give them the shirt off your back with that. So a couple other things. So some of the things which we were talking about, Nigel and I, were, we wanted to give you guys an update. On, how things, where things were last year, and some of the things that we're planning and we have in motion for this upcoming year. Granted, I am not going to say everything that I have, because some of them I actually have to keep a secret just because of who I'm working with, and I actually had to sign a couple NDAs. But we are definitely working on some pretty big things. So I think what I like to do is first to start off with like from last year. You said you haven't seen me in a while, which you haven't, and I haven't seen you either. So I'll pitch it to you first. Ask any questions you want to ask me about how things work.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, we speak off and on. I think we're kind of like family that way. I know that you're good, but I'll check in and just make sure. I know you were going through a couple things. You hadn't been surfing, and I think mentally it sounded like it was kind of bugging you a little bit. And because when I think of you, I always think of someone who's like Mr. Positive Energy. You kind of uplift a lot of the people around you. So it's when you go like quiet, sometimes it kind of bugs me. So I don't know the whole story, but what was your situation like?
I will let people know. I mean, January, February, March started off pretty well. I was in PR in January. I traveled to Costa Rica at one point early in the year, and was, poised to just really like keep going. And then I broke my hand. But the problem with the break, it wasn't a simple break. It took multiple operations for me to get it back to be able to like even make a fist. So it took a while to heal. And at one point, it was funny. My nephew began to tell me that I was Wolverine because I had like the pin sticking out of my hand. And it really got to a point at one point where my bones actually began to absorb the metal in the pin. So they had to remove them and put in new ones. So it took a while for me to heal from that. Summer hit, and I was working all summer, and I had all these ideas, and we were working on different things. And then out of the blue, I started noticing some issues with my vision, and I went to the doctor, and he said, "Yep, your retina is detaching again." So then I had to literally, do another surgery, which kept me out of the water during that swell that we had for that point. I will not lie, I was not in a very good place, because I am a person who needs to have water around me. And be able to at least get in the water at least a little bit. Just so that's my mental reset. Not being able to do it, and at one point literally not even being able to see, because wear my contacts, my glasses had broken, and so I couldn't see properly out of my good eye, and then I definitely couldn't see out of the eye that just had the surgery. So at one point I was literally just sitting at home on the couch, blind, just miserable. But once things started to heal slowly, I started thinking about, okay, I need to set myself up for the upcoming year. And work on things for the upcoming year. And I also did a little bit of a pause and looked at what I accomplished for the past year, for 2024. So we did the photo contest,
Oh yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
Waveframe.
Yeah, I saw that. It was actually pretty
So
cool.
yeah, I mean that's something I'd like to do again
Yeah,
for this
sure.
upcoming year.
Definitely.
The Riders of the Storms photo contest. There was a little bit of contention over the winners, but I stand by my judges. Another thing which I want to do is we also want to throw actually a surf contest as
Yeah.
well. And I'm working with Mosiah on the We Ride
Yeah, yeah, of
documentary
course, of
on
course.
getting that
Yeah, yeah.
shown as well in more places. Another one which had a little bit of contention, but I'm being very, this year I'm laying everything out
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
table. I'm
yeah,
not going to
yeah.
dance around topics with people. And yeah, so that's I'm trying to come at 2025 with the same with energy that I came with in the beginning. And when things happen, because they will.
Yeah.
They will. There's no way the next 365 days are going to be, I'm going to cruise through them. But when things happen, then, take it in stride. And one thing which I had to always remember, because for those of you who know me, and those of you who don't know me, I'll tell you this right now. I am not a person that accepts help very easily. I recognize that about myself. I
Yeah,
do not
same,
accept help
same.
very easily. So when people were reaching out and saying, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? What's happening with you? It took me a while to actually get back to them and say, yeah, I need some help. But I'm trying my best not to be like that anymore.
Yeah, no, that's well, sorry you had to go through that. That's
life.
kind of heavy. Yeah, it's nuts. I think I think about some of the senses that I would hate to lose, and I think sight's probably one of the ones that would be the biggest. Like I think I could maybe lose the hearing,
Mhm.
but sight, I just think there's so many beautiful things in the world, and it's just
Dude, thank
not
God,
being able to.
thank God for Siri and Uber. Because I can tell Siri, do this for me, and then they'll deliver, and Uber
Yeah,
will
yeah,
deliver
yeah.
food or deliver whatever I needed. Thank God for that, because otherwise I would have been walking down the street squinting at people and
Yeah.
like, I don't know who you are, but can you help me read this, please? Yeah. So that was kind of like my 2024. It was what it was. I'm taking it in stride and just keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah, I know you went through yours as well. I mean,
I think I'll start by saying that I purposely had to take a moment because I don't think people truly understand like how much station meant to me and how much a part of me it was, right? The thing that makes me most annoyed when people talk about station and ask me about it is about business. And yeah, station was a business and the store was great, but I didn't open the store so I can be the best businessman and make tons of dollars. I mean, that would be a great outcome, right? But I opened the store because I wanted to connect people to something that made me genuinely happy. And if I can help them get to that happy place, then maybe their lives will be enriched by it, right? Everything else was just icing on the cake. So when you approach things from that point of view, it's not about like, oh yeah, the numbers added up and this was good. It was more like, man, part of my soul felt like it was missing, right? So long and short of it, station still exists, right? So at Paragon Sports, we have a pop-up version of the store that's there year round. I've been at Paragon helping with that. It's not necessarily a money-making venture. I mean, they're paying for the goods and they're taking care of it, but it's a way for me to keep my feet kind of wet and still have the brand live because my intention is to reopen. However, anyone who's ever owned a business knows that when you close, right, you leave yourself in a lot of financial pitfalls. We did the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe was very helpful. And I'll be super kind of clear with everything. It's like the reason I guess I was in that situation even to begin with is that, I had a partner, I had to pay him out, and that money didn't necessarily come from the store. I had to borrow that money, pay him out, and then that money had to be paid back. And I borrowed, and I will shout out, there's so many people who personally have lent me money, who has supported me financially to help me keep the store going. So I mean, I could say the names, but it's just they know who they are, and I'm so thankful that people believed in what I was doing enough to financially support it. And I felt like I kind of let them down because the goal was, okay, the store is going to keep going. I can make sure everyone gets taken care of, and then that goes. Right. And then, I mean, I haven't really said this to too many people, but I was in a pretty long-term relationship and then that ended and everything, literally the rug just got pulled out from me. And I went through a pretty heavy bout of depression. And you guys are seeing this now. This is vitiligo. This developed because of stress. It's starting to repigment now. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. But I was very self-conscious about this even. But it was a part of my life that I never have been in. I've never been in that situation. Like I'm always the guy willing to give and the positive guy. And then like you, I don't know if it's being male or if it's just like maybe we're from the Caribbean, or just it's how we are.
I think it's all of the above.
I don't necessarily like asking for help. I'm very embarrassed by it. And then more embarrassing than that is when you ask for help, you get the help, and then you're not able to repay
Right.
in the time frame or manner that you want it to, right? And that sits on me heavy, really, really heavy up till this day. I mean, I was technically, I was out of my place. I was technically homeless for a little bit. I got an apartment for a little bit, but then that rent became tight, and then I was backed up on that. So it put me in a position where I had to really just reevaluate everything in my life. And in doing so, there's a couple things that kind of came to the forefront as being super important. So first was family, right? And then since we're talking about station, the other one was really the store. And as down as I was, the thing that kind of kept me or is keeping me going is the fact that I know that I'm going to reopen, because I'm not finished with what I set out to do with the store.
Right.
I'm not finished with doing things to help support Rockaway and the kids that are coming up surfing and the surf community there. Everyone who visits that, right? Station is so much bigger than just a retail store. And I hate when people just bring it down to that level, because retail is just what it is, because that's the means that I have to keep it going. But anyway, I kind of went on a rant there because it's really deep for me. But the station at Paragon is amazing. The guys, Zach Blank at Paragon, and the whole Paragon team has supported me in keeping a footprint of the shop. And it's good. I mean, it's filled with stuff. The vibes are still the same. Yes, it's a little bit more industrial than station is. There's no like showers in the back, and but we're taking ding repairs. I'm partnering with Paul, who's doing amazing ding repair work. We have good boards, we have good product, good wetsuits, there's good prices on everything. And I'm looking at some places now. And the one thing about me is that once I envision it, I'm going to get it done.
Right.
And I'm going to work 27 hours if I have to. And I've been running myself thin. But yeah, long-term goal for the store is to be back and have a good footprint and do things slightly differently this time, because I'm a little bit smarter. But that's it. I'm tweaking the website, going to get that dial in so people who want to support can do it through the website. We'll have good product, and then just visit Paragon for now.
I remember one time I noticed that this friend of mine was always going on all these trips. So I asked them, like, I'm not trying to be in your business or anything, but how is it you're always able to, like 1 month you're here and next month you're there, and then you pop back into New York for like about 2 weeks and then you disappear again. How are you able to do that? And the response I got was trust fund. So I said, oh, okay. So your parents left you money. So then the response, he said, nah, I just trust that the funds will come. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of like what you're speaking about with that.
I was watching something and someone said this, and I realized that that's what it is. And it was so true. And it was something about, it had to do with the whole like ban of TikTok, people that were making money and how the government doesn't care about them, and so on. But she said something that was so true. And then the comments in her section was so true. She goes, unless you've been at a place of, and everyone says they have, but I don't think when you're at a place where like you don't know where you're going to sleep, where you don't have a place to sleep, where you miss one day of work, the next week is jacked up because you needed those funds. You don't understand what it is to truly be at the bottom. I'm not saying that people's lives aren't hard. I mean, it's friggin' tough. But I mean, I was at that spot, and the things that made me happy was when I got a chance to surf and I got a chance to see my kids, and also just keeping in mind, like, what am I doing? My legacy on this planet is going to be that I created something that made people happy, right? I don't give a fuck about becoming a millionaire through the store. It's not about the money. It's never about the money, although you need it for business. It is about just getting this understanding that we're human beings, and there's something that fundamentally that we need to keep us excited in this world, because we got so much shit thrown at us every day. And the shop was ideally one of those things that I was hoping would do that. And people come to me all the time. It's like, you got to reopen. Like, no, you got to, and I speak to a lot of locals because I'm nervous, right? Like, I'm like, do I reopen this thing? I mean, there's probably like rumors going around. He did this, and people don't know. No one's really spoken to me personally and asked. And the locals who I respect, like, dude, like you were doing something, like you were open in the winter, like when I needed, like I knew that I could count on you to be there. And that's
right.
Respectful, because you did it for us. Anyone could open in the summer and get the money from the people visiting. That's cool. And I made that a point because that was one of my things, is that I want to be open a little bit so that the people who live here could benefit from the shop being here too. So anyway, station will be back. Okay. We will be better. We will be stronger.
You heard it here first.
And we're just going to take take the time, man, and make sure that I do it right. But this is not a question of if, it's a matter of when. But I want to make sure that I take care of all of my outstanding things first. And I'm just grinding right now. You know, I'm just grinding, trying to get it going.
Well, you heard it here first. A, what can we take away from that conversation? Nigel don't give a fuck about it. To you naysayers. B, station will be back. And C, we're grinding to make it come back.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So speaking of that, I think that's a good segue. Now we're talking about the future. So let's talk a little bit about the future of the WeSurf podcast.
Yeah.
So one of the things, as I said in the beginning, you notice now that in the beginning I used to say, that if you are seeing this, then this one thing. If you're just listening to this, but now we are actually committed to making sure that you can view this and you can see this.
Yeah.
Along those lines, that comes along with now our YouTube channel. Yeah. Point of having a YouTube channel is that you need content. So, because we need content, we are officially going to be taking the WeSurf podcast on the road. I mean, I'll speak about my portion in this. I do a lot of traveling, and when I am traveling, I always try to find people there and just literally slap a mic on them and say, hey, can we talk for a bit? And then we put it together. And, I've spoken to people like Chris Dennis from Trinidad, Dr. Giovanni Martinez from Puerto Rico. I'm breaking the news now that I'm heading to Fiji in April, and I will be staying in the same place with Bassiere, who is the Aloha Award winner. He's a surfer from Senegal who runs a not-for-profit out there, and I am 100% going to interview him for that. So that will be that portion, but the majority of the on the road piece will be taken over by you. So,
yeah.
A little bit.
So this was an idea that I've pitched to a couple of people. I thought it was amazing. Business plan is already written down, like everything's down. But basically, I want to create this on the road version of WeSurf. And WeSurf we started the podcast to shine a light on what you don't normally see in the surf community, right? People of color, which now I'm seeing a lot more. So it's a little bit about that, but I kind of want to hear the stories, right? So for example, I want to go down to North Carolina and maybe talk to someone there about what their surf day is, like spend a day with them, surf with them, hear what surfing for them looks like. Because for each of us, surfing looks slightly different. I mean, some of us are older, we have kids, some of us are younger. It's the only thing that we do in our lives.
Okay, stop. Sorry to interrupt you, but why you had to look at me when you said some of us are older?
But I did use.
Y'all saw that, right? You said first thing you said, like, some of us are older, and his head just like on a swivel, looks at me like, thank you. Okay.
But I used the word us. So I include myself in there. But I know for me, what fascinates me about surfing, and everyone has their thing.
Yeah.
It's not if John won or lost. Like I like to know that stuff, and it's not if pipe is firing, and so. Again, I'm a surfer. I love that stuff. But I realize that, and this is from the story, that most people are just average surfers. Yeah. They go out there, they want to catch their waves, but then they have a life outside of that. And I think it'd be kind of cool to hear about that life and how surfing intertwines with that. And for people that you wouldn't normally see in the water, like, the young black girl maybe that is a great longboarder and she's doing her thing, and you'll never hear about her. And I want her to have just like a voice. I want to hear what her day is like, what she's eating, what her parents think about it, So that's the vision of it, and it'll be very participatory. So I would love, when I start to do this on the road thing, I plan to literally just get a GoPro. There's a long story about why I no longer have a vehicle, which is just another part of lifing. But getting a vehicle and then hitting the road and just documenting that. And we're going to try and edit it so it's clean and short. It's going to live on YouTube under the WeSurf YouTube channel. And I think it's going to be fun. And we're going to bring some people along. I already trying to coerce Paul and Naomi and Farmy and them to do a couple runs with me once we figure out where. And along the way, we're going to hopefully eat some good food, meet some good people, and catch some good waves. Again, doing what makes me happy and what I feel like my soul wants me to do. And but that's the thought around the WeSurf on the road.
So what our schedule, the way we're looking at this would be, Nigel and I are doing a solo, just the two of us speaking. And then we want to bring in guests from Rockaway the next time, and then potentially interview somebody who's not part of the Rockaway community. It could be from anywhere around the world. interview that person, and then for the fourth one, it'll be Nigel and myself again, and then we go that round robin with that. For me myself, it's really still sticking with the WeSurf podcast, but I'm going to be focusing a lot more now on our branding and how everything else works out with it. I mentioned that this is a refresh of the podcast. We're not abandoning the people that we had before, because we really did have some amazing guests, and thank you guys for joining us. But I really want to devote a lot of my time to this, along with other aspects as well, because I can see in my mind, I see how the WeSurf podcast really it connects with everything else that we're doing. So I have the surf therapy that I work on. Then of course, the history of surfing that I am always speaking about and writing about. Of course, surf therapy, and there's so many amazing people within the surf therapy world I feel we can speak with that. But then also, the history of surfing and surfers of color in particular, because believe it or not, I still find people who are still look at me and go, "You surf?" Yes. Black people surf? Yes. Please, can we not do this again, please? We've been doing this for the last how many years? Yeah. Go watch Wade in the Water. Watch We Ride. Go watch all these documentaries on black surfers. They're out there.
Right.
They do exist. Or you know what? Go watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
But that's another topic altogether, because I have my own issues with why there were not that many surfers of color in the Olympics. But I have my own theories, and they've been supported by other people. So that's another story altogether. Yeah, so that's really what we're working on. There are other things happening with WeSurf, but Nigel doesn't know this yet, but I'm trying to shoot for us to get to a point where we're doing 2 episodes a month as opposed to just 1. So, you will always be there, and you'll always hear something from us with that. Nigel had to step out for a little bit, but I think that's really where we are now. That covers it for again, mahalo. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us. And as I said, you see we are on YouTube, so I know it's a little cheesy, but I'm going to say it. Do your part, leave a heart. We're going to be redoing a lot of the social media and the Instagram, because now we have a social media person, we have a director, we have producers, we have engineers. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us, and just stay tuned, and hope I'll see you out in the water. You.